have a strong philosophical connection with one another.
On Monday, Boston took back Boylston Street, 1 year after a catastrophe where 2 explosions rocked Boston and America. The nation stepped above as one of our own won the men's race. Meb Zevzletsky finished the race with an official time of 2 hours, 8 minutes, and 37 seconds. And at 38 years old, this is the first American to win the race since 1983. The women's elite group was taken by a Kenyan, Rita Jeptu, for the second consecutive year, with an official time of 2 hours, 18 minutes and 57 seconds.
The second step to the new NFL season created 12-month saga continued last night as they released their much-anticipated schedule. Right away, the speculation starts for the game of the year. A perennial star in the Denver Broncos is traveling to New England in Week 9, but the NFL season is packed from Week 1 as the Seahawks will open their title defense against the Green Bay Packers Thursday, September 4th. Seahawks are featured in primetime 5 times this year, including Thanksgiving, and will play a Super Bowl rematch at home in Week 3 against the Denver Broncos. The NFL rematched 5 of the 11 playoff games from last season. London will also host 3 regular season games this season. The next step for the NFL is the draft on May 8th, but we'll have more on that for you later in the show.
It was a sticky one for Pineda last night. In the second inning of the Red Sox-Yankees game, during an at-bat, Red Sox manager John Farrell discreetly talked to home plate umpire Jerry Davis about something. After a long, slow walk and a subsequent long and slow search of Pineda, Davis is going to throw him out for pine tar on his neck. According to MLB Rule 8.02, a pitcher may not have a foreign substance on the baseball. The rule also calls for a mandatory 10-game suspension. You're going to see Pineda you're going to see the umpire touch his hand to Pineda's neck, feel his fingers, and know there's a sticky substance, and throw him out. Dave Phelps took over for Pineda in the second inning, but he didn't last long as the Red Sox won 5-1.
The MLB has taken action and suspended 4 players for their involvement in the benches-clearing brawl between the Pirates and the Brewers on Sunday. The brawl started when Pirates pitcher Garrett Cole said something to Carlos Gomez after he hit a triple off of Cole. Brewers catcher Martin Maldonado received a 5-game suspension, while Carlos Gomez received a 3-game suspension. Pirates outfielder Travis Snyder received a 2-game suspension, and catcher Russell Martin received a 1-game suspension. Both Gomez and Snyder are appealing their suspensions. Gomez said, "I'm appealing because it's not fair, and I'm not the one that started the fight, and I'm not the one that started throwing punches first." He went on to say, "I will appeal it and wait for the results." Now it's time for a quick break. When we come back, we're going to be joined by Sam Lucides to break down this year's NBA playoffs. Welcome back. Frank Isola of the Daily News reported that James Dolan and Phil Jackson are already clashing over some front office personnel decisions. Jackson is trying to clean house, including longtime employees and suspected rats for Dolan. Here with me now to discuss these issues is Sam Lucides. Sam, thanks for being here.
Thanks for having me.
Sam, a lot of Knicks fans are all wondering, with the signing of Phil Jackson, a lot of promise came to these fans. Are these problems in the front office going to stick around, or do you think Jackson and Dolan are going to be able to resolve their differences and work together?
I think they'll be able to resolve it, Pat. Rumors have said that Phil and Dolan have had problems, but Phil actually went on the media and he talked about so far after Mike Woodson that all promises have been held, that Dolan has kept his way out of New York, and Phil has most of the power in New York still.
Knicks fans are definitely hopeful about that. Now, switching over to the playoffs, because as I'm sure you remember, they're still going on. There's another team in New York who are worried about their more immediate future. The Brooklyn Nets are tied with the Raptors at 1 game apiece. Who do you have winning this series, and who are the key players?
I'm taking the Brooklyn Nets with their experience. They have Paul Pierce, the truth, and at the end of the games, he just takes over. Meanwhile, they lost the last game. Paul Pierce had a few opportunities to win. I think throughout the series, he'll gain more confidence and be able to lead the Brooklyn Nets past the into the next series.
I like Brooklyn as well. Staying in the East, the defending champion Miami Heat are ahead 2-0 on the Bobcats. What do the Heat need to keep their success going into the later rounds?
The Heat just need to keep playing like they're playing. They're playing championship games right now. They're getting easy baskets, and they're playing well together behind leader LeBron James. He's one of a kind. He plays offense, defense, and with Dwayne Wade behind his back, they probably won't be able to stop the Heat.
They're certainly tough to beat. Heading over to the other side of the country, to the West, the Spurs look dominant like they have all season. What is the reason for their major success?
I'd say Coach Greg Popovich. He's won the coaching award 2 of the past 3 years. He just won it this past year. And with the Spurs' experience and him coaching, it doesn't seem like they can lose. They're a really good team. Like I said, with much experience. Tim Duncan, in his later years, he's still playing like an all-star.
Going from one successful team to an unsuccessful team, this playoff series so far has been a surprise. What do you think about the Bulls being down 2 games to the Wizards? And do you think the Wizards can take this series?
I think it's surprising, Pat. The Wizards, this is their first appearance in 6 years, and they seem focused. They're young and exciting. Behind Wall and Beal, they're maturing, and they're an exciting team to watch, and I think they can make it past the Bulls. I think in the next few rounds they'll have a tougher time, but they're playing well against the Bulls right now.
So far, the playoffs have been exciting, and another series in the West to keep an eye on is the Clippers against the Warriors, who are at 1 game apiece. They play tonight. Who do you think has the upper hand in this series?
I think the Clippers have the upper hand, Pat. The first game they lost, but the second they won by 40 points. That's a big margin, and with people like Blake Griffin, Chris Paul, I don't think they have a chance of losing this series.
All right. As always, Sam, it's a pleasure having you on the show.
Thank you.
We look forward to having you on again. Now, when we come back, my co-anchor Dan Cohen is going to pick Mags' mind about the NHL playoffs.
I got a mic already, so I think you can hold on to yours. You're off. It's Jeff and Dan now. Why is the prompter on? Yeah. Look, they're talking about hockey. Oh, there we go. Thanks, guys. Now over to the NFL draft, where the top receivers Sammy Watkins, Mike Evans, and Marquise Lee are looking forward to be drafted. I'm doing an audio check for them. Good?
They're probably going to need you to go a little bit.
Stretch it out? Sure. And my script's coming up on here, right? Yeah. It's in the prompter? Cool. It better. Yeah, it should be. Yeah.
Welcome back as we enter Mags' mind and take a look at the NHL playoffs. Well, Mags, first round, clean sweep between Montreal taking over on Tampa Bay. Are we giving credit to the Canadiens or are we giving blame to the Lightning?
You know what, Dan, this series was really shocking to me. I did not expect to break out the sweep room so early. But Les Habitants, they beat the Tampa Bay Lightning 4-0 because let's face it, folks, hockey doesn't belong in South Florida. Anyway, we take a look at this series. The Habs won this series by a 4-0 score. Many Lightning fans going on and on about how officiating kind of screwed them over. But let's face it, folks, even with the most biased Lightning refs in the world, there was no way Tampa Bay was winning this series. I didn't think it would go 4 games. I thought it was going at least 6. But the thing is about Tampa Bay, they lost their starting goaltender, Ben Bishop, right before a series. And Ben Bishop, even through his lack of playing, he turned out to be one of the most valuable players of the entire NHL playoffs.
It's always interesting when you see a lack of a player changing a team.
You're absolutely right, Dan. In fact, you look at the replacement, by the way, Anders Lindback, he did not step up when called upon. He went 0-3-1 the series with 3.91 goal against average and an .881 save percentage. Even if you're a reliever, the ERA at 391, that's never a good thing. So 391, never something you want to see.
So New York versus Philly. Ray Emery started the first 3 games and got replaced by Steve Mason.
That's right.
Who will start game 4? Who should start game 4?
Well, let me tell you something, Dan. I was a little surprised when Philly actually pulled Ray Emery in the dying minutes of the game against the New York Rangers 2 nights ago on Tuesday night. But the thing is, I think that's just spelled the end for Ray Emery right there. I think Steve Mason will get the start in game 4, which would, for all intents and purposes, would be a welcome change for Philly. You know how they say, though, if you have 2 goaltenders on your team, you really have none? Well, that's the case for the Philadelphia Flyers right now. They really haven't had any stability in their goalie since the days of Robert Esch back in 2004. And the thing is about that, you need consistency in goal. And while the Flyers do have a chance to beat these New York Rangers, I don't think they'll go farther than that.
So switching to the Western Conference, 2 out of the 4 lower seeds, well, 4 out of 4 entering last night, but 2 of them won. So 2 out of the 4 now are down in their series. Who's going to come back and who's going to pull off the upset?
I'll tell you who's not going to come back, the Los Angeles Kings, because I don't know if you've been watching those games, Dan. It might be past your bedtime or whatnot. But they play at 10:30 tonight, by the way. That's when Game 4 is. But for the Kings, they have looked just lifeless in this series right now. And hard to believe this is a team that won the Stanley Cup a couple years ago. But the thing about the Kings is they're getting outplayed by the San Jose Sharks team, a Sharks team that's determined to get rid of the "we choke in the playoffs" moniker right there. So you're going up against a team like the Sharks that's very determined to get rid of a choker label, and I believe that they don't have a shot. As for the other series, the Minnesota Wild, let's face it, this era has been a bit of a disappointment for them. You have they brought in Zach Parise, they brought in Ryan Suter. This was a team that was supposed to contend for the 1 seed, not the wild card seeds right now. But they got the win. They won 1-0 the other night. But one thing I'm a bit disgusted about is Matt Cook. The guy need Tyson Barrie, a knee hit. Barrie will be out 4 to 6 weeks, and Matt Cook only gets a 7-game suspension right there. This is what's ridiculous about the NHL. Matt Cook is a repeat offender, and I believe he should have gotten more on that suspension. But I digress. The Wild got 46 shots on goal. Only 1 went in. They were great. Darcy Kemper, rookie goalie, has been phenomenal in these playoffs so far for the Minnesota Wild. So, you know what? I see that series. I see the Wild win tonight at XL Energy Center. I see that series going 6 games at the very least. So.
And a real quick breakdown. Last night, Columbus enters down 2-1. They're now tied 2-2, Pittsburgh. What was the biggest reason why why Columbus tied up the series?
The MVP for the Columbus Blue Jackets last night was Marc-Andre Fleury, a.k.a. the Pittsburgh goaltender. He comes out on a save and handles the puck like a 6-year-old out there. It was unbelievable. It's hard to believe this guy's won a Stanley Cup out there, Dan. But he handles the puck. Brandon Dubinsky gets it, puts it in the open net, ties the game. And then Nick Foligno, who guarantees in the locker room he's going to win it, he does it right there, and the Jackets have this series. I see that series going at least 6 games.
How about that? That's a time to remember. So we're throwing it to Joe Mann with our NFL receivers up to date. Who should you pick? Who's the top guys? Joe?
Thanks a lot, guys. 2 weeks ago, we took a look at the top running backs in this year's draft class. Now we'll take a look into the wide receiver position. In my opinion, the top 3 receivers in this class are Sammy Watkins out of Clemson, Mike Evans out of Texas A&M, as well as Marquise Lee out of USC. Watkins is clear-cut the best receiver in this draft, and I can't see him falling past the top 5 picks. At 6 foot 1 inch tall and 200 pounds, Watkins possesses both size and speed to get around NFL corners. While I think the Texans will pass on Watkins with number 1 overall pick, I can see either the Rams taking him with the 2nd overall pick or the Jaguars with the 3rd. Now let's take a look at Mike Evans. Sophomore out of Texas A&M, 6 foot 5 inches tall, weighs 225 pounds. In college, he made the life of quarterback Johnny Manziel much easier, and I can see him doing the same for an NFL quarterback. He's been known to have vacuum hands because of his ability to catch the football. While I don't see him being taken in the top 5 picks, I can see him being drafted by the Buccaneers with the 7th pick all the way to the Rams at pick number 13. And now let's kick it back to the studio with Dan, and we'll...
Get out of the way, Teron. Thank you, Joe. So when we come back, we have your Marist softball, baseball, lax, and water polo for you. Welcome back. And here comes your red and white update. The Marist College baseball team brought out the brooms for a 2-game sweep of Manhattan College on Saturday. Freshman Scott Bocheese started the game 1 and gave the team a chance to win. The bats got hot for Marist in the 3rd as they went for 8 runs thanks to some clutch hitting from Ben Moeller and sophomore Joey Aola. The Bull Foxes took the first one 11-6. Game 2 featured senior captain Jordan Ike on the mound. Ike provided a stellar performance, retiring 16 consecutive batters after giving up a leadoff single to start the game. It was a pitcher's duel until the 8th inning when Marist exploded for 5 runs to take a commanding lead. Ryan Thomas came in for the final frame and locked down the save as Marist won 8-7. They are now currently in 6th place in the conference.
On the other side, Marist softball hosted rival Niagara last weekend. The Red Foxes took a win home from Game 1 with a 7-6 come-from-behind victory before taking Game 2 with a 4-2 win. In Game 1, the Red Foxes posted 7 runs in the bottom of the 6th to steal their 6th MAC victory. The big hit in that inning came from sophomore Kristen Van Natta, who nailed the 3-run homer to score the leading run. In Game 2, Kristen Van Natta and Alyssa Zaka led Marist with 2 hits and a solo home run apiece. Janine Lawley claimed the victory and now claims a season record of 6-5. Marist is now 7-3 in the MAC. Next, the Red Foxes will head to UMass on Tuesday for a non-conference doubleheader at 3 p.m.
This past Saturday, the men's lacrosse team traveled to West Long Branch, New Jersey for an in-conference game against Monmouth. In a game they needed, sophomore Joe Radden did not disappoint by scoring 4 goals and adding an assist. Junior goalie Gabe Scarello anchored the defense with 10 huge saves while holding Monmouth to only 9 goals. Marist took the game by a score of 12-9 and improves to 2-3 in the conference. Marist will host senior night this Saturday against Canisius, so come on down.
Going to the women's lacrosse team now. This past Saturday, the women's lacrosse team played Fairfield and came out on top, winning 13-6, with sophomore Kara McHugh scoring 4 goals. It marked the 9th straight win for the Lady Foxes. Before the game, both teams were undefeated in MAC play, With the win, the Red Foxes claim sole possession of first place in the conference standings. The team record is now 12-2 overall and 6-0 in back play. Allison Gianta, Kristen Viscount, Jamie Romano, and Natalie Bonaranti all scored 2 times, as well as their next game will be home on Saturday at 1 p.m.
This weekend, 2014 MAC Water Polo Championship will be held at Marist. Regular season champs and #1 seeded Wagner will take on 4th seeded Villanova in the semifinal round on Saturday. Also scheduled to play Saturday in the semifinal match between 2nd seeded home team Marist facing against the 3rd seeded Iona Gales. Start times for the semifinal rounds are scheduled for 1 and 3 on Sunday. There will be a consolation game played at noon the following day by the championship of the 2 we played between the winners of Saturday. All the games will be available for the fans to watch on mac.tv.
All right, time for another break, but when we come back, it's your weekly top 10 NBA plays. Welcome back. Let's not waste any time. Let's go ahead and get right into the top 10 NBA plays of the week. And first off, at number 10, we have the Boston Celtics taking on the Miami Heat. Jeff Green for the win, knocks it in. Gets the inbound pass from Gerald Wallace and puts it just out of reach from LeBron James for the win. The Celtics went back to Boston with a happy victory over their rival Miami Heat by a score of 111-110.
Number 9, Knicks didn't have a great season, but their best player had one great night. He came out and just went nuts on the Bobcats this night as he put up a big old 6-2 spot. 62, he couldn't be stopped diving, driving, striving, living, and at the end of the first half, he just throws it up, and thank you very much for a little extra buzzer. So, there's number 9.
At number 8, we have Kevin Durant, MVP candidate Kevin Durant, almost losing the ball. No, recovers for the sweet swish for the 3 and the win. To end this one against the Raptors. This game went into double overtime, so you can't blame Kevin for wanting to get home. He wins it in the 6th quarter, and the Thunder topped the Raptors 119-118.
The other MVP candidate on Christmas Day, it's known LeBron James doesn't like his sleeves, and I think he was just trying to slam him off on this one. He is not a big fan as he rips down the overhead dunk.
Now for number 6, we have Blake. It's against the 76ers, so can it really count? We have Blake Griffin throwing down a monster dunk on the other end in a game that they were already dominating the Sixers. He does it time and time again, putting on highlight reel dunks, and the Clippers would go on to win by 45.
Number 5, we certainly are LeBron lovers, but not on this one. Mason Plumlee steps up to block him to secure the 4-0 victory sweep of this regular season for the Nets over the Miami Heat. Pretty sure LeBron thought that was a foul, but in reality, just a clean old block. Fingers on the ball, baby. Smack the leather.
And now for number 4, we have a highlight in the Pacers' happier days. Up huge on the LA Clippers already, Paul George already had 34 on the night. Why not 2 more with a little bit of style? A 360 windmill dunk right by the Fresno State graduate. A huge reason why the Pacers ended up with the East top seed. Indy would go on to win that one 106-92.
Number 3, Tony Roten just tucks it up from 3/4 court, and thank you very much. That was not their foul line. That was his own foul line he just took that shot from. You can see the clock just dwindle down, red lights, and the score. Nothing better than that right there. He knew it, too, as he was running after it.
And now for number 2. How could Kevin Durant missing a shot be in the top 10? Well, here comes the magic. Down by 1, a chance to win in the final seconds. Hey, Mo Harkless, put it up, man. Oh, wait, here comes Tobias Harris for the game-winning dunk as time expires. Orlando's going to party like it's 1995 tonight, and why not? They're dressed for it. They went on to win this one 102-101.
And your number 1 play, it's not just a play by a player, but it's a whole team. Looks like an easy layup. Thank you. Nope, we're going the other way. Grab it. He's going to go down the court. So that's 3 guys touching it. That's your 4th guy touching it, and a slam and a finish, baby. The whole team gets involved. I bet you that 5th player on the floor felt like he didn't really do much. Maybe he got some Gatorade cups for the rest of the team after that play.
Now, the NFL's collective bargaining agreement does not allow players to meet with coaches before teams begin off-season workout programs, which began on Monday. However, Peyton Manning and his offensive coordinator, Adam Gase, visited Tuscaloosa, Alabama a few weeks ago. Manning and Gase were in Alabama to meet with Coach Nick Saban. Saban says that he met with Manning and Gase separately, meaning that the 2 Broncos only saw each other to say hello. Manning says, "We know what the rules were. Like I said, I was on there on an independent project, and Adam was as well. The NFL is still determining if this is a punishable violation."
Chicago Bulls center Joakim Noah has been named the Defensive Player of the Year for 2014. Other series candidates were Roy Hibbert, DeAndre Jordan, Serge Ibaka, and Andre Iguodala. Noah received 555 votes, which is more than the other 4 candidates combined. This season, Noah averaged 12.6 points, 11.3 rebounds, almost 2 steals, and 2 blocks. Noah anchored a Chicago defense that allowed 91 points per game, which was the fewest in the NBA.
We'd like to finish off today's show with an update on Tiger Woods after his...
In other news, we'd like to finish off today's show with an update on Tiger Woods after his back surgery. Sorry to steal this one from you, Pat.
It's all right.
According to Woods' agent, Mark Steinberg, it appears that Woods has progressed well in recovery and now is at a point where he might be able to play over the summer. That is all the time we have for you today.
That's all the time we have for today, folks. For my co-anchor, Dan Cohen, I'm Pat Fermo. Thanks for tuning in for another episode of LTCC Sports. Tune in again next week.
Happy birthday, Christian.